Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my new video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to fully automate your project deployment using GitHub Actions. Imagine pushing your code and having your server update itself automatically. No manual steps needed. I'll walk you through setting up a GitHub workflow that pulls your latest changes, installs dependencies, and restarts your application. In the previous video, we have already connected our virtual machine to GitHub via SSH. So the connection part is done. And in this part, we are going to automate the workflows. Before diving into GitHub workflows, let's first set up a deploy script. This script main purpose is to automatically trigger deployment whenever there's a change in the code base. So that's exactly what we need. In order to go ahead and create a deploy script, all you have to do is come out of the root of the project. So what do I mean by that? Suppose this is my project right here, deploy in VM. This is actually my project. I'm coming out of the root. So I'm going one step behind the root. And here is where I am going to, create my deploy script. In order to create it, it's touch deploy.sh. So this is going to be the name of my script. It's going to be a shell script. The next thing you want to do is nano deploy.sh. And here is where we are going to write our script. So what is our script going to be? For context, this is going to be for pnpm and this is going to be for npm. And yeah, so what does the script say? Export path is equal to /home/youtube dot local /share pnpm path. So what does this even mean? It makes it so that when you type pnpm, the system will find and run the version installed at this location. So we are just saying the version of path of the version. It's here. And the next thing you want to do is go inside the root of the project. That is going to be cd home, and YouTube is going to be my username, and whatever username you have given into your VM, that is what comes here. And then the deploy in VM is going to be my project name. Simple as that. And once you're inside the root, what it's going to do is it's going to git reset hard origin main. What does it do? This resets your local branch to exactly match the origin or the main branch. So whatever the code base is in your main branch, it's going to reset your local branch to that. And then git pull origin main. This fetches changes from the remote repository, that's nothing but origin, and merges them into your current local branch. And the next thing you are going to do is go to that path, whatever we mentioned, and then install force. So basically what you're telling it to do is install pnpm install is what is happening here. So inside the root of the project, you are doing pnpm install. This is actually equivalent to pnpm install. So once you get your project from GitHub, you have to install it, right? So for that, we are going to install it. And the next thing is we are going to delete the previous process. So what is this previous process? PM2. If you remember, we used PM2 for process manager. So which is going to delete the previous process, and that is what it does. And this or true is nothing but if there is no process, then just continue. So that is why we have an or true here. And make sure it's the same name as your PM2 process which you want to run. The next thing is again, calling the pnpm, and then PM2 start at this. Okay, so we are going to start our server in this repository. So how is it going to be? It's going /home. It starts from the root of the VM. So it is from the root. You're going to go into home and then username, that is YouTube, and your repository, then the file which you want to execute. And then you're going to give a name for that process like we saw. So it's going to be my first process. Okay. So make sure it is the same name as this, so that whenever this deploy script is running again, it's going to delete the old one and replace it with the new one with the same name. So then we'll have a, we don't have to change our names, and it's going to cause a trouble, right? It's going to overwrite these processes names so that there's no errors. So now what we're going to do is just copy this up, paste it over here. Once you're done with that, we're going to control X in and Y. Now that it's saved, now we want to make this file executable. So for that, we have this command, which is nothing but sudo chmod plus x, which is going to make this file executable. Why do we have to make this file executable? Because when the GitHub workflow, so why do we have to make this executable? So that this is going to execute whenever there's a change in your code. So this shell script is going to get executed. So let's give the permission of executed, and then we're going to test it out right now. Simply testing it out is very simple. Just running it here. That is deploy.sh. Boom. What it is going to do is it's first going to check if the main branch is the same as our, local code base. If it is, then it's going to say it's already up to date and not going to, pull the new changes in. But what is this force? Force is nothing but it's going to install it anyway, even though it did not pull the changes from the GitHub, or in simple terms, nothing changed. Still, it's going to install. So it's up to you if you want to keep this or not. And also keep in mind that this deploy script is a very simple deploy script. It's up to you how you modify it. But this is the gist. This is how you are supposed to do. Okay, let's go forward. And as you can see, everything is set. And also later on, it is, running this PM2 process. It's going to kill the first process, and again, it's going to run another process. So here it killed the PM2 process and started the same process off. So now it is already running. That's how we actually, use the deployment script. That's how it automatically, you know, does this whenever there's a change in the code base. So now let's go and figure it out how to set up this using GitHub workflows. The next thing you want to do is you'll have to get the code which is in the virtual machine to your local machine. So the same code should be here. Open it in any IDE. In my case, I've opened it in on Cursor. So you can use any IDE you want. The next thing you want to do is you have to create a new folder .github/workflow, and boom. Once you create this folders, now you are going to have a YML script in it. Deploy.yml. So what it basically does is, this is the format of a GitHub, how to get your workflows going. So this is nothing but, this is a rule which you have to follow in order to get your Git actions running. Basically your, deployment scripts or any automation which is going to happen. Inside our deploy.yml, we are going to run a script. I have it ready here. So this is going to be the script. I'll explain it really quick what it actually does. So the name of the script is nothing but deploy to VM. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then on push branches main. So it is going to trigger whenever there's a change in the main branch. Okay, so whenever you change your code base in your main branch, it's going to trigger this script. And jobs, what is it going to do? It's going to deploy, and it's going to basically, spin up an Ubuntu runner. The runner connects to your VM at this IP address via SSH, the user name YouTube, and your private key SSH. So username is going to be YouTube, and your private key is going to be SSH private key, which we are going to set up in a moment. And the script is nothing but bash, user interpreter bash, go to the home, go to the user, which is YouTube in our case, and run the deploy script. As I explained earlier, the deploy script is going to do all the work. We are just going to trigger the deploy script here. So once this is done, you may save it. And now the next step is going back to GitHub and setting up the SSH key. So now we have to connect this particular repository to our VM. So what you want to do is go to the repository where it is connected to the VM, or I mean the code base which you want it to be in the VM, and go to the settings and go to secrets and variables, click on actions, and now create new repository secret. Keep the name of the repository secret the same as this. It's going to be SSH private key. SSH private key is going to be the name of the new secret. And this secret is nothing but the private key from the virtual machine. So we have to get this private key. So if you follow the tutorial along, it's going to be in this location. We have generated some public keys and private keys, if you do remember. And this is where it got saved. So right now, if you go to this location, we are going to get our private key. So this is nothing but an open SSH private key. So we're going to copy the whole thing, even the begin open SSH private key part. You're going to copy it and go back to your GitHub and paste it over here. And then once you add the secret, you're done with the GitHub part. Now what you want to do is run the other two scripts, which is nothing but this cat SSH ID this to this. So basically what it is doing is it appends the public SSH key, which is this, to the authorized keys part. So it's going to do that. This is a security purpose. It's not a compulsion, but I suggest you to do it. Once you do this, you're done. And the last part here is chmod 600 and chmod 600 to the authorized keys. What does this do? It only gives the owner read and write. Groups and others, there's no permission. So if you have any other user, he cannot access this keys. So the permission is only for the owner. So the root user will have the permission. Okay. Once you're done with that, I think you're set. So now what we want to do is just clear it out and let's test it out. Let's go ahead and change our code over here. We will say hello from the virtual machine, git actions running, something like that. Yeah, we'll save it and let's push it to our GitHub. So let's commit and let's sync changes. Once we push it in the GitHub, let's go into our repository and let's see if there is an action running. If you go to this action tab, you will see this action is running. So this is the git action or git workflows which we are doing. So now it's going to do whatever we told over here in this. It's going to complete the job, and then there should be changes in over our virtual machine. So let's wait for a bit. As you can see, it failed for some reason. Now to debug it, we can go to your view workflow file and then you can click on this jobs and read the server logs, why it failed. As you can see here, there's a process or namespace, PM to my first process not found. So it is saying that there's a error in my deploy.sh script, wherein PM to my first process is not found. So let's go ahead and change our deploy.sh script. Let's cat deploy.sh first. And let's see which part is failing. Right here, it says that this is not existing. So it's my mistake here that I have put PM2 hyphen. I should not put that. It's just going to be the name of the PM2 process, which is nothing but my first process. So in order to change, I'm just going to do sudo nano deploy.sh. And I'll go ahead and I will change it right now. So go to my first process line and remove it right here. Once I do it, Control X and Y, I'll save it and it should be saved. Let's make sure it is saved. .sh, yes, it is saved and hopefully it runs right now. Let's go back to our cursor and let's make a small change. Let's say running and fixed error. Let's save it and let's push it to the GitHub. Push one, something like that, and then sync changes. So we'll go back to the GitHub and let's go back to our repository and let's see if the action is running. I mean, if there's an action trigger. And there we go. It's in progress. The yellow dots signifies that it's in progress. So let's go in and check how the deployment is done. So it says that deployment is finished. So set up a job is done, and there's no errors. And deploy via SSH. Yeah, this is the flow, and this is actually the server log which we are supposed to get. That's amazing. We have got it, and then cleaning up orphan processes which we don't have to mind. So as you can see, it has successfully changed. Now what I want to do is I'll just go back to my code. I'll click on ls and I'll go to my code and I'll check if the code has really changed. So cat server.js, this is where we changed. And as you can see, the code has been changed and hence the GitHub actions are working. So this is how we have to do it, guys. I know the video is very long, but if you did it correctly, I think you are going to get it. And it's pretty simple. And the next time you do it, it's going to be even simpler. And one more thing I want to add here is that basically this is just a normal script. You can have multiple workflows. We can have multiple actions which can be done. This is just for you to know how to actually, deploy and get started with the basic stuff. From here on, you can build on to these basics and do it yourself. So all the best for that. And thank you for watching the video. And this is going to be the end of the series. Please leave a comment down below how you felt it. And if you had any problems, please let me know. And if you did like the video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace out.